5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
This is the Culture Clash.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey, welcome to the next episode of Culture Clash Live here on the Fandom Podcast Network. We got all kinds of fun stuff to talk about today, but I cannot do a live show alone. Luckily, I had $200, and I figured it was either going to land me Channing Tatum or this guy, and it happened to land me this guy. He, of course, is my brother from another mother, the co-founder of the Fandom Podcast Network, Mr. Kevin Reitzel.
You passed on Channing Tatum for me? Really?
Well, he had overtures about what that $200 was going to be for, Kevin, and we're just
nobody right now watching live understands anything that you're saying, so maybe we'll have to reference that later.
Oh, I know, but we got to have the inside jokes and lead things in, and we already got some, and hey, guess what? We already got some comments too. Lurkers is here with us. Welcome.
That's Nathaniel, right?
Hell yeah, that is Nathaniel.
What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Good to see you, man.
Yes. So we've got a huge show. We got a lot to talk about, Kevin. But one of the things we're going to be talking about in a little bit is we lost a legend in the fandom this week. But we also lost I want to talk about first. We lost a legend in sports. In a Culture Clash, we cover all the different kinds of fans, and sports is a big one, and especially this one for both me and you being sports, but especially you, Kevin, because you grew up with this man's voice in your ears, and I'm talking about the legendary, irreplaceable Vin Scully.
He was the broadcaster for the Dodgers for 67 years. Who has a job for 67 years, let alone lives 67 years old? Vin Scully was the voice of the Dodgers. He was also the voice for several football games, World Series, Super Bowls. He also did play-by-play for one of my favorite baseball films, which is For Love of the Game with Kevin Costner. But I became a Dodger fan because of my mom, and my mom's mom, my grandmother, was a Dodger fan, listening to the games on the radio. Started when I was around 6 or 7. And he also did the television the television broadcasting as well. And so Vin Scully was a staple in my childhood and going into my adulthood, being a Dodger fan. Yes.
Yeah, and I believe Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't he the voice for a long time in the early '80s of Baseball Night in America when we would get that nationally televised?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly, but he even did he did some Super Bowls too. I mean, he was sought after a lot. He did a lot of stuff, and I remember. I remember a lot of the local commercials he would do too for Farmer John's hot dogs and stuff like that. So I mean, Southern California, he was part of the family. So yeah.
For you NFL fans out there, he actually was the broadcaster for one of the most famous San Francisco 49ers plays and one of the most famous plays in NFL history, the catch between Joe Montana and Dwight Clark.
Yes. Yep.
So, But Kevin, we got a lot of other stuff to talk about. All kinds of stuff. It's been a weird week. Let's just put it that way. There's news all over the place.
True. You mentioned someone else passed away. Are you talking about that now or later?
Well, Kevin, I'm feeling it a little bit. I think it's time we talk about that and a lot of other things. So
Let's news.
So I just want to throw this up here. Nate hit it on the head. Another legend in sports broadcasting, Harry Carey. Can you remember how he felt when Harry Carey died? So he can definitely understand about how you feel about Vin Scully. Absolutely.
Yes.
And
yeah.
Hey,
Harry
Jennifer.
Carey. Jennifer, what's up?
So Harry Carey, an absolute legend. But speaking of legends too, Kevin, we lost one in science fiction fandom. She wasn't just a legend. She changed the game. She did things for race rights, everything. She was a groundbreaker in Hollywood and for so many different things. And of course, that is the wonderful Nichelle Nichols, or her from Star Trek, Kevin. passed away this past week. Just a loss. I think everybody felt. The outpouring of love that's been on social media for her has just been overwhelming all week long.
Yeah, definitely. And, she died at 89. And, of course, know her more of as a Hura, but she's been in several other productions as well. I think she was on Heroes as well. One of my favorite Hura moments, of course, is in Star Trek V and also Star Trek VI. Just a wonderful person. I got a chance to meet her once when I got her autograph. Very, very sweet lady.
Yeah. She's actually done a lot of voice work too. She's done work on Gargoyles and Spider-Man, the animated series, and she was on Heroes for several episodes. She actually did a few episodes of The Young and the Restless as well, Kevin.
Yeah.
That's kind of surprising, but yeah, I mean, just a groundbreaker for opening the doors for African-American women in Hollywood at the time, and just so many memorable things, and was always a class act to the wonderful fans she had, whether it was through Star Trek or something else.
Rest in peace, Nichelle.
Absolutely. We will be talking more about Nichelle on our next episode of Union Federation 2, where you can get some of the thoughts of our Union Federation crew about Nichelle as well. But Kevin, the story that's been kind of dominating the headlines the last few days has been what's been happening with the WB, Discovery, and HBO Max. And it started last year. Discovery bought Warner Brothers, which included HBO and HBO Max, and it's been kind of
How did Discovery become a conglomerate big deal? I thought that's what throws me for a loop. I didn't know they were a big thing like Disney or Time Warner or whatever,
Oh, they absolutely are. When you think about it too, they do all these reality television shows which are fairly cheap to make. And they, you think about all the hit shows because not only is it the Discovery Channel, it's like the Home and Garden Network and several Food Network and several of these other things that are just absolutely huge. So they're just bringing in money hand over fist. And so last year they purchased Warner Brothers and everything that went with it. And it's been about a year now. And some weird things have been happening, especially in the last week as we're coming up on the second quarter reports for businesses. They had a Batgirl movie coming that was going to have Michael Keaton playing Batman in it. And the young lady who was one of the stars of the remake of West Side Story was Leslie Grace, I believe is her name, was playing the lead for Batgirl. This movie cost $90 million to make. It was made by the directors who did the last Bad Boys film, Bad Boys for Life. It was originally announced it was going to be put on HBO Max, and they decided, no, we're going to take it and move it to the theaters. And then it was completely canned this week by Warner Brothers.
They completed the film, correct?
The film was done. And the Michael, I think it's Zaslav is his last name, who's kind of the head right now of everything with Warner Discovery Media, basically said, nope, we're going to take it as a tax write-off. And they canned it. And it started springing all kinds of rumors about what the future of HBO Max is. And slowly over this week, they have canceled several big projects. You remember the movie Scoob that came?
Yeah.
The animated. They had a $40 million sequel that was done. That was supposed to come out on HBO. Axe that too.
Is that animated?
That was animated, yeah. They've axed several other upcoming projects, including stuff they were working with J.J. Abrams.
What about the Gilded Age?
As far as I haven't heard anything about that as of yet, but basically what it's coming down to is they had sometime in the summer of 2023, HBO Max streaming service and Discovery Plus streaming service are going to be rolled into one service. And what is going to happen from the sound of it is that you're going to see a lot less original content on HBO Max, like HBO Max exclusive things, shows and movies. Zaslav says their plan going forward is to get back into making movies for theaters, not streaming services. I think what they're going to do is focus more on some reality stuff with Discovery, though Zaslav has also said he plans to still put a lot of money into HBO itself and a lot of like simulcasting of those HBO shows like they do with Game of Thrones and a few other shows like that with the streaming app. But it's a lot of changes happening at HBO Max right now. I can tell you this: James Gunn went on record. Peacemaker season 2 is safe. That will be happening. but there's been a lot of, they're canceling a lot of things. They've laid off a bunch of HBO Max staff. And to give you an idea, Kevin, since Discovery has taken over the Warner Brothers and the HBO, not including Batgirl and the Scoob movie, they've already written off 800. They've had a tax write-off of $825 million on films and TV series that they have canceled.
What does this do for DC?
Well, if you believe what was said in the conference call they had about this, Michael Zaslav wants a 10-year plan following kind of the Marvel playbook. My guess is that any DC project that is not Aquaman 2, Shazam, or Black Adam, and maybe The Flash is probably going to get canned, no matter where they are at in production, pre-production, whatever. I think the big question everybody has floating out there right now is The Flash, more than anything, because of the status of Ezra Miller and what's going on with him. But the difference is Warner Brothers has already spent $300 million on The Flash. They don't want to can that movie because they've already put so much money into it. I think The Flash will still come out, but I think the other problem with this is
when is that supposed to come out?
It was supposed to come out, I believe, next spring was the focus on that. Might have been next summer, but with COVID, it's been moved around so many times, it's hard to say. The big thing I think, Kevin, for like Shazam and Black Adam, is I feel like they've been turned into lame duck movies now because people are like, what does it matter if you guys are going to reset everything yet again with DC? And that's a shame if that's going to happen because the Shazam franchise is fun. I was interested to see what they were going to do with Black Adam. So,
I want to give a shout out to Kama here. You know who that is, Kyle?
I do not know who that is. Did you know who that is?
Yeah, that's my daughter Camille.
Oh well, hey Camille. Good to talk to you, Camille. We miss you.
She's got some points there. You know, it's interesting because they should have cut ties a long time ago. They've been trying to find the right movie just to get out there and make a big splash and make a bunch of money, but they haven't really tried to make besides Justice League, which, you know, is fun to watch, but you can tell it just didn't quite gel right. They just need to kind of start from scratch, you know, but they're committed to certain films right now. And it's kind of sad because they have so much stuff and properties that they can dive into if they just set a plan instead of let's try to make the Flash work and bring in Michael Keaton, you know. And as much as we like to see that, what does that do for the future of things? What is their plan? You know, it's just frustrating. And, you know, I think that they should just, I don't even think they should do Wonder Woman 3 personally.
I don't think they're going to.
Get Black Adam out. Obviously Shazam's coming out, which I'm not excited for. I didn't like the trailer for that. Black Adam, whatever. I'll see it just because it's, you know, Dwayne Johnson, but I'm not excited about it. You know, and just kind of reset everything, get some new cast, new acting, and just start from the beginning and make it fresh and stay to the roots.
Well, I have another piece of news that I guess does tie into this because one of the other things that was part of this was the CW network, Kevin, and they've been canceling shows left and right on the CW network as well. They just announced that the upcoming season 9 of the Flash series with Grant Gustin playing the Flash will be its last season there with a shortened 13-episode season. To be honest with you, it's probably time. This series has probably kind of gotten past its prime date a little bit here. But I think the more significant thing of that, Kevin, is that will officially mark the end of all of the Arrowverse shows.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't invested in them. I kind of checked out of those with, you know, season 3 or 4 of Arrow. And I just, you know, to me, whatever. I know there's a lot of devoted fans to those, and especially Grant Gustin was great in the Flash. I think I stuck in that for around maybe two seasons or so. He should have been Flash in the films, and they need to really kind of place it. Stick with Momoa, Nathaniel. He's great, but you can't really bring him back in if they're going to reset anything. It would just be weird, you know?
And let's be honest, even Aquaman has a little bit of stink on it with the whole Amber Heard thing and things like that. So
yeah,
DC's better off just cutting ties, maybe even taking a couple of years with no DC projects as far as movies go.
Yeah.
Let it sit, let it reset, and move forward. However, Kevin, on the Marvel side of things, a little interesting video has been making its way on the internet and on social media. Have you by chance happened to see a certain video with a certain Oscar Isaac and a director of a TV show called Moon Knight?
I have not seen this. No.
They are in Cairo right now, and they were asked, "What are you guys doing together in Cairo?" And they're like, "What?" Oscar Isaac comes on the screen and goes, "What else do you think we would be doing in Cairo right now?" So
say hi. I just want to say hi to Adam. Say hi to Adam real quick. He's up there. He's out there with Camille and Nathaniel and Jen.
Hello to the Lethal Mullet. Camille said something about Pacific Rim, and Camille, I just want to throw out to you, if you have not on Netflix, they have a show called Pacific Rim: The Black. It's an animated series. You need to check it out, Camille.
She loves Pacific Rim. Yeah. Especially the second one. She loves the second one too, which is fun.
Yeah, but the Pacific Rim: The Black, it's animated. It's very good. I think it'd be right up your alley, Camille. Another update, FX, which ties into something we're going to talk about a little later, but they have been working on an Alien series written by Noah Hawley. Well, they gave an update on that. All of the scripts are done. The series will commence filming at the beginning of 2023 with the hopes of coming out either later in 2023 or early 2024, Kevin. It will take place before the events of the original Alien film, and it will take place with a xenomorph on planet Earth.
Does Ridley Scott have his hands in this?
Ridley Scott is a producer on this, but that's probably just a name only because he probably has to be credited with everything being a producer at this point. So
I'm not excited for it. We'll see.
I'm excited with the aspect of Noah Hawley getting some new voices in on Aliens. Hopefully Ridley Scott's just a producer in name only because, he kind of gets to be with that, but we'll see. And then, Kevin, something I know we're very excited for, and we'll talk a little bit about it a little bit later, but She-Hulk, supposed to premiere on the 17th of this month. Well, it's not going to now. It's been pushed back by a day. Disney Plus has decided they do not want Marvel and DC shows coming out on the same day on Disney Plus. So they have decided that Wednesday will be Star Wars Day and Thursday will be Marvel Day. This is being done because the last few episodes of She-Hulk were going to come out at the same time as the last few episodes of the first few episodes of Andor, and they didn't want the crossing on the same day just causing overload. So we will have new Star Wars on Wednesday, Marvel on Thursday. I'm bummed because I'm really excited for She-Hulk, but I can understand the thinking there.
Yeah, no, a day. Oh my God, a day. All right, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm excited for She-Hulk. It looks really, really fun.
Yeah, and of course, speaking of Disney Plus, Kevin, we've talked a little bit about this, and I'm sure our friends over at What a Piece of Junk will dive into it a little bit more. But the Andor trailer premiered on Good Morning America. Good and bad about this. An absolutely phenomenal trailer. We talked about it with our good friend David Lozano on his podcast, Star Wars Stuff. But it's been pushed back to September 21st. Again, I think they don't want it running completely concurrently with She-Hulk, but we are going to get the first 3 episodes dropping on September 21st. After seeing this full trailer, Kevin, I'm really excited. I 3 episodes on September 21st. I'm all in on that. I got the impression you're very excited about this as well.
I am excited about it. It looks dark. It looks gritty. I love seeing the birth of the rebellion during the Empire, who seems to be sitting on their laurels and maybe getting a little too comfortable with their power. So this is the rise of the rebellion, and Andor has his hands deep in it, and I think it's going to be really fun. And with 3 episodes dropping, I'm assuming they're probably just going to be like 35-minute episodes or something like that. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, I have a feeling that the episode length for this is going to be a little all over the place since we're getting 12 episodes total. There's probably going to be a few on the shorter side and some that'll be on the longer side. I don't think we're going to see a Deadpool cameo in She-Hulk, but Ryan Reynolds has started training for Deadpool 3.
Yeah, that's what Nathaniel says. That would be fun, though, wouldn't it be?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I'm really looking forward to Matt Murdock being in She-Hulk because we will see both Daredevil and a little bit more of the attorney side of Matt Murdock.
But hold on. If we do get a cameo by Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds loves to do cameos. Just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, he does. He does. I'm not going to even argue that. Which Ryan Reynolds.
I'm teasing something, and then I'm just gonna leave it there. So there you go.
Speaking of Ryan Reynolds, real quick, Kevin. One of the trailers I had before I saw a certain movie today was for a FX docu-series coming out about Ryan Reynolds buying a soccer team over in England. Have you seen this? This is the first time.
No, are you punking me? And is Roy Kent on the team?
No, Roy Kent might be on the team. He's on every soccer team, but no, this is a legit thing. It's a smaller league, but he invested into a soccer team, and they're doing a 6-part docu-series on FX, which will also air on Hulu about Ryan Reynolds and owning the soccer team.
Okay. Cool.
So that could be interesting, but that's going to wrap up the news. But we got other things to go about. But first, I love our new buttons.
Camille, if you're watching, stay tuned. I'm going to talk about you in a second.
I think I know where this might be going. Kevin, you know what? It's been a while, but we've really seen a lot of things lately. But it feels good because it feels like we've been a little lacking in this category. But guys, guess what? It's that time. Buy it, stream it, or unsee it. Yes, we have seen quite a few things, including many things just today even. Kevin, let's kick it off with something we both saw right before we did this podcast in different coasts, but we saw Bullet Train. Now, Kevin, do I need to do it before we talk about it? Should I, or are we gonna, since it just came out today, are we gonna try to be light?
No, I don't want to spoil anything right now.
Okay, well, I'm gonna play it anyway just to be on the safe side. Just a chance if something slips out of our mouths about spoiler warnings, but Kevin, Bullet Train, I came out of it. Our good friend Matt Clifton, as he likes to say, there are certain things that move at the speed of Matt. Bullet Train definitely moves at the speed of Matt, but it was so much fun. I had a ton of fun with this movie.
Yeah, I did too. I liked how funny it was, and it's directed by David Leitch, who people should know co-directed the first John Wick film and also helped produce and the next 3. He also directed Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, knows his action. He also did, of course, Hobbs and Shaw, and I think he's part of that 8711 stunt team and production team that also helped produce this film as well. He also did what else was it? Oh, he's doing The Fall Guy, which is in pre-production right now, which I thought was kind of cool. So
yeah, I think that's Mark Wahlberg in that.
Okay, gotcha. The Fall Guy. Yeah, this movie was a lot of fun, man, and Brad Pitt was freaking hilarious.
This is the version of Brad Pitt I love, where he just is able to let loose and have fun and just be who he wants to be. And the cast in this movie is so phenomenal. And I just got to say it, Kevin, I didn't recognize Aaron Taylor Johnson at first.
Oh, I did right away. I did. I know what he's like and what he does. And the kid from the Kick-Ass, not a kid no more.
Yeah, the mustache. I think it was the mustache. He had a little mustache action going on in this one, and I think it kind of threw me. But no, this movie is a blast. It is high energy from the minute it starts till the minute it ends. It's got a bit of everything in it. For those of you who are planning on going to see it or had any doubts about going to see it, go see this movie.
Kyle was referencing this movie when he mentioned Channing Tatum earlier in this episode, just so you know.
Yeah. Kevin, I mean, this is one of those movies I haven't seen in a while that has a bit of everything in it. It's got action. It's got comedy. It's so off the wall.
It's got some twists in it too, which I like.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. A lot of things you don't see coming. I mean,
just one thing I wanted to mention too was, for those of you that may have seen the Lost City romantic comedy with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum, Brad Pitt had a small part in that role, and a lot of it has to do because of this film, because those two were in this film, and I think they did a little like you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back type of thing, And it was very, very funny. And this movie had some really good action in it too. You know, it takes place, of course, on a train, but there was a lot of good dramatic moments, a lot of good dialogue, quippy stuff going on too, which was a lot of fun. So yeah.
One of the things I liked about this film too, Kevin, is how well they use the train as an environment.
Yeah.
And using how they use the train in the action sequences and in the story. And I thought it was very well done. I'm just going to say it for right now. When this thing comes out on video or digital, I'm buying this movie. This movie.
Me too. Yeah, it's definitely a buy it for me.
Yeah. Now, Kevin, we're going to talk about some things you've seen, and I'm proud of you, sir. This is a landmark day, and I want to thank Camille for helping bring up this landmark day to the Culture Clash, because Kevin, you're going to talk about an anime series and buy it, stream it, or see it.
Yeah, I have to thank my daughter Camille, who is watching now live on YouTube the show, and I gave her a heads up about it. She hits me up saying, "Hey, Daddy, we need to check out this show called Spy X Family that dropped just recently, this last couple of months, and it's currently streaming on Hulu." Camille took me directly to a website. I'm forgetting the name of it. Help me out here. That actually streams it.
Crunchyroll?
What? No, not Crunchyroll. It's another website that you can just go ahead and check it out. Animix Play. That's what it is. Animix Play. And Camille, no, we have talked about anime before, Camille, but as she mentions here, you guys have never talked about anime. Wow. She's joking, of course, but Kyle's the anime guy. He's the one that knows a lot more than I do. But we watched the first 2 episodes. It was a lot of fun, and we both like it for the same reasons, but I think we also like it for different reasons too. Is that it's basically about a super spy who has to keep his cover. He needs to put a family together. And he finds this little girl in an orphanage that has some special ability. And then in the second episode, he gets the wife, and she's got some stuff about her as well. But what I like best about it is not only how it's animated, but it takes place in a Cold War environment and city and stuff like that. You can tell it's past World War II. And it feels like it takes place maybe in the 60s with the cars, maybe something like that. You can see that it takes place in a European town that could be like London, but maybe somewhere in outside of France or something like that. It's really, really cool. And so it's really funny. The dialogue is really cool, but the setting I absolutely love. So Camille and I are enjoying it. We're going to be continuing to watch it.
Yeah, Kevin, it is one of the biggest and hottest animes in the United States right now. It is everywhere. You're seeing memes all over social media from it. It's incredibly popular. Season 1 just wrapped up. I know season 2 is coming, I think, before the year is out. So this series is not going anywhere anytime soon. So I think you're going to enjoy the ride for sure.
I'm assuming it's getting a lot of attention, right?
Oh, it's huge. It's
right.
It's right now, Kevin. It's growing so fast. I'm willing to put it up there with like the Naruto and the Bleach and the One Piece and the Pokemon, as far as it's starting to hit that level of recognition in the United States.
Gotcha.
And Camille's talking about the Anya memes. Yeah, Anya is everywhere.
That's a little girl, right?
Yeah, that's the little girl. Anya is everywhere.
Yeah, she's hilarious.
So,
she can take care of herself too. That's what we like about her. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited that you're getting to enjoy that with Camille. That's awesome, and I'm glad you're enjoying it as well. But Kevin, you've seen a couple other films that I'm really interested to get your input on, and one of them I know is going to be going to be a big player come Oscar time, and that is Elvis.
Yeah, Elvis. I've always been an Elvis fan. I've been to Graceland myself, and I've always been fascinated by his career. And this movie really follows his career, directed by Baz Luhrmann and starring Austin Butler as Elvis and Tom Hanks as his manager, Colonel Tom Parker. It's Austin Butler. I wasn't sure if I was going to see this film, but it wasn't until I saw interviews with him about how much he prepared for this role with Baz Luhrmann for like a year, hanging out, just doing music together before his approval to be hired by the production company and producers. and he sings a lot of the stuff, and you get to see young Elvis, through his ages till he gets the older Elvis, and he's performing in Vegas. But what's really fascinating is that you really get to see the character that Tom Hanks played, Colonel Tom Parker, how he basically takes advantage of Elvis and manipulates him throughout his career. And you find out the reasons why he did what he did. And it is definitely Oscar worthy for Austin Butler. The kid is fantastic, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, that was good. So it would definitely be on the buy it list for you then, Kevin?
Yes, I did. I do want to see it one more time, but probably, yes, definitely stream it. Definitely watch it when you can. Go see it now if you can. Support it in the theaters. It's a really good movie to see on the big screen as well.
You also saw a movie that I am definitely very intrigued about. I actually saw a trailer for this movie about 6 weeks ago or something, and I know it was brought to your attention, of course, by our queen of movie foo here at the Fandom Podcast Network, Lacey Adderhold, and that is the BJ Novak, of course, the alumni from The Office, written, directed by, starring in Vengeance, Kevin. And this movie very much intrigued me, but I got to be honest with you too. When I saw the trailer for it, because I saw it right after some pretty bad events had happened in our country, I was like, is this movie going to get pushed back because of some of the topics within it? But I'm curious to know your take on it, because not only is it an intriguing type of film, it's got a very intriguing cast to me as well. I love BJ Novak from The Office. Dove Cameron, who is also in this, I'm a huge fan of, and even John Mayer is in this at some point, and of course Austin Kutcher too. So, what did you think of Vengeance? Because I'm very curious.
Real quick, I just want to say, Nathaniel says, I've heard Tom Hanks may get a Razzie for this. Agree or not? I disagree. He was really good in it, I got some pushback on the Elvis film, like, I'm such a big, from friends of mine, they were saying they were such big Elvis films, they don't want to see someone pretend to be him. You're doing yourself a disservice to see a really wonderful performance in this. So the music's great. Make sure you check it out. Vengeance. I went because, I had a couple extra hours after work the other day, and I trust Lacey's opinion, and she was right. Vengeance is really good. BJ Novak is really good in this, and basically it's about when you watch the trailer, you'll get this, but BJ's basically a New York writer and podcaster, and he gets this mysterious phone call from this girl that he had a really brief relationship with, who's from Texas, from her brother, and she is dead, and he thinks that she was murdered, and her death was, by the local authorities, was pronounced an overdose or something like that. I can't remember the exact details. And so he goes down to the funeral, and he starts, everyone thinks that the relationship with her was a lot more involved than he actually knows what it is. And he starts seeing that there's a story there about this family, and the brother wants to do this whole vengeance thing and find out who killed her. And of course, he's kind of, he's like, whoa, what's going on here? And it's very funny. It kind of starts going one way, and then it starts going another way. And you're like, oh, wait a minute, are they going there? And there's some really good performances. And I got to tell you right now, Ashton Kutcher was phenomenal in this film. And I was really surprised the role that he did in this. It was really good. And Dove Cameron was great as the sister, and just the whole Texas family was very funny. And the reference to Whataburgers, if you ever have eaten at a Whataburger. Yeah. BJ Novak was great in this. It's a kind of, it's definitely a drama with a little bit of humor in it, and I do highly recommend it. It is a very good story.
How would you rank it? As a buy it?
I would definitely buy it. Go see it. It's really, really good. It surprised me. So yeah, definitely stream it if you don't buy it.
Yeah. Lastly, is a show that is on a streaming service. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm about halfway through this, Kevin. So I've not finished it, but I'm enjoying what I've watched so far. But you went into this, and I think you even started a second rewatch of it already, and that's The Terminal List.
Yeah, The Terminal List on Amazon, starring Chris Pratt. I think he also produced it as well. It's about a former Navy SEAL who investigates his entire platoon that was ambushed during a high-stakes covert mission. And some of his members that have survived start showing up dead. And he gets targeted and his family. And there's a bigger conspiracy here, and he opens up a can of vengeance whoop ass because he uses his skills as a trained killer, ex-SEAL guy and he gets some help with friends about using the detective side of it. Really, really good film. And Constance Wu, who I first, of course, remember her from Fresh Off the Boat TV series, but more importantly, Crazy Rich Asians, the main female lead. She kind of plays the reporter that's kind of helping and assisting him. But let me tell you, Chris Pratt is phenomenal. This is his best acting I have ever seen. It's heartbreaking at times. You feel his pain. And when he gets revenge on people that are part of this conspiracy, he is very exact about it. And he just doesn't, he does, when he takes his revenge on certain people, he does it in different ways. And it's fascinating to see him and these FBI guys that are trying to find him. And it's really, really good. Taylor Kitsch is in it as well. He plays an old friend of his. He's also very good in it. Riley Keough, actually the granddaughter of Elvis, daughter of his granddaughter? Yeah, I think it is.
Lisa Marie.
Lisa Marie's daughter. Yeah, she's in it too. Jean Trimplehorn is in it as well. Great cast. Kyle, I think you'll like it. How far are you in, by the way?
I'm 3 episodes in right now.
Oh, one of the things dude. Keep it going, man. You're almost into the good stuff.
Yeah. One of the things, though, I'm enjoying about this that I've watched of it so far is we've gotten so used to Chris Pratt in that Star-Lord type mentality role, or even when he's
kind of jokey. Yeah.
We're seeing him get back to what we saw of him like in Zero Dark 30, where he's being more serious and how edgy Chris Pratt can really be.
The training that he got for knowing how to handle his weapons, hold them properly, fighting, you can tell he went through the full training on this, and he kicks ass.
Oh yeah,
in this series. Check it out. It's based on a real book written by a real former Navy SEAL sniper.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it too. It's a definite stream it from just what I've watched of it before. I will say this: my dad watched this and he ended up binging it within one weekend. He loved it that much.
That's what I did too. Yeah, I went back and watched like 2 or 3 episodes that were really good, especially some kick your ass scenes.
Exactly. Well, Kevin isn't the only one who's watched some things though, because I've finally getting a chance to catch up on some things and watch some things. And one of the things I want to talk about is a show that I have loved on the Apple TV Plus service, and that is For All Mankind. Now, if you're not familiar with this show, Joel Kinnaman is one of the main leads in this film. You might remember him obviously from Suicide Squad or the RoboCop remake or several other things. But this is an alternate history show on Apple TV Plus, and the first season starts off. The basic premise is what would have happened if Russia had gotten to the moon first.
Interesting.
And so the first season and second season really focus on how the space race changed because Russia gets to the moon first, and how once we got to the moon, how our space program kind of backed off of it once they got there. We continue to go up. We build a space station up there. The moon becomes kind of this hot property. Who's going to claim the moon? Things like that. And then season 3 now is kind of a little bit more into the future, and we're going to Mars.
Interesting.
So Mars is the big key point here, and it's really interesting because now you have the Russians trying to get to Mars, you have the U.S. government trying to get to Mars, but now we're getting into the point where we're kind of like what's happened with SpaceX and things like that. We have a private industry trying to get to Mars. And so it's been very intense, very well acted, very well done. The season isn't quite over yet. I believe it's got one more episode, which I believe comes out today, in fact. But this has been a great series, and if you're a fan of alternate history, like say for example, The Man on High Castle, the great Amazon show, check out For All Mankind if you have access to Apple TV Plus, because it's phenomenally well done. If you're a fan of like NASA and the space program, it's a must watch. As I told our good friend Haley Stoddard, who is of course the wonderful science officer on our Union Federation podcast, you will science the you know what out of this show, because it's
like
so
Matt Damon in The Martian.
Yep, Exactly. And then the other thing I want to talk about, because Kevin, there's been a lot of stuff that came out today on within fandom. Because not only did you have Bullet Train, but you had the new Predator film Prey, which came out on Hulu. I actually got a chance to watch this afternoon before I went to go see Bullet Train. Let's hear it for half day Friday summer hours at work. But I really enjoyed this movie, Kevin. I know you haven't had a chance to see it, and I don't want to go too spoilery for the people who haven't, but I like the premise. When we've seen this in trailers where it's going back to I think it's 1917 on the Great Plains, Kevin, where this takes place with the Comanche.
It's about 300. It's about 300 years ago.
Yeah, with the Comanche Indians and a predator coming to Earth. What you're saying is the first time a predator has come to Earth. But what I like about it, Kevin, is it's one of those movies where there's talking, but it's not this really heavy dialogue film. There's a lot of just the hunt and the silent action and some of the things going on. And it just works so well within the Predator vibe of this. And the design of the Predator is just really, they do some unique things because it's 300 years ago, even for Predator technology. We see some different style Predator weapons. We see a little bit of a different look for the Predator as far as the armor and how some of the technology functions. I really enjoyed it. It's short. It's only about an hour and 30.
It's an hour and what?
It's an hour and 39 minutes.
So it's like sorry, go ahead. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's compact. It feels compact, and it feels like
it's a good pacing, is what you're saying then.
Yeah, it's got great pacing to it.
And so what you're saying regarding the alien, the Predator technology is older. So it's is it like a steampunk Predator?
No, it's still much more high tech than what
I kid.
But there is some things that you can tell where their technology has evolved from this to what we've seen in the other two Predator movies. And again, I like the fact too that you were dealing with the Native Americans and trappers and people like that getting
who had to know how to hunt, to survive. Yeah.
But they don't have obviously anywhere near the technology. At least, when we've seen Predators before, you've got modern weaponry and stuff like that. It can maybe be a little bit more of a threat to the Predator.
There is a lot of reasons at times where when I watch Predator 2, there's so much I love about Predator 2 that I didn't get in Predator 1. I love watching those movies back to back. Predator 2 is so much fun.
Oh, I love it too. But I would definitely say Prey. For me, I would rank it as a buy it. But obviously right now you can only stream it. Definitely stream it. It's like I said, it's a tight movie. One fun thing about this, they have what they call the Comanche dub, where in this movie, when you just watch it regular, all of the Comanche Indians speak in English and you can understand them. But in the Comanche dub, they've been dubbed in classic Comanche language.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. So you can you can listen to them just speak the native language then.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice. Very nice. Did you get an idea of where it took place?
Within the Great Plains, but they didn't really pinpoint per se, but it was beautiful scenery. I would love to
Kansas. I don't know.
I would think someplace there is some mountains, so I would think someplace where you had a little bit of mountains and such as well. So, but no, I would definitely say it's definitely worth the stream. And it's a solid film. It's not on the level of Predator or Predator 2. I'm just going to say that right now. But I think it's probably the best Predator film since those two films, in my opinion.
Okay, cool.
So, Kevin, I need to apologize to you, sir. The last Culture Clash we did, I brought on our good friend Davis Grayson, and we wanted to talk some Stranger Things season 4. Well, I committed the ultimate podcaster flub. Davis had not watched Stranger Things season 4,
and he was going to.
He was going to. So I wanted to apologize to you because I know you wanted to go a little bit more in depth about Stranger Things season 4. And I know it's a little time has passed, but the Eddie phenomenon continues because the actor who played Eddie literally got to jam with Metallica, and Metallica made the Eddie guitar for him and presented it to him backstage at one of their shows. Kevin, Eddie phenomenon is going there, but I know you have some in-depth thoughts you wanted to share on and questions you wanted to ask about Stranger Things season 4 as well that we couldn't get into when we had Davis here and we were trying not to spoil it for him.
Well, I don't know now exactly, but I just wanted to what I find fascinating about season 4 is not only were they they took the series, and it kind of felt like it came to an end, and then at the very end, you're like, nope, not just yet, not just yet. But how you saw the cast get older and mature, but really, when you see the character of Eddie Munson, and I don't know if we need to say, I don't know.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, just real quick before we go any further, if you have not watched Stranger Things season 2, we're just going to give you one of these. And I said season 2, I meant season 4. So spoiler, we are in spoiler territory as of right now. So go, Kevin.
There you go. Eddie Munson, played by Joseph Quinn. Okay. Runaway star of season 4. Plays metalhead Eddie Munson. And he's an English actor. And he's all over the talk show circuit right now. There's a very funny one with Tonight Show Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon asked him in different languages, different accents, do an Eddie Munson thing. But he plays this metalhead outcast who is leading up this D&D group, of course, that gets thrown into the, when kids start to disappear, they think that Eddie Munson is part of this cult instead, wanting to kill children, when it's a more ominous, what is it? Vecna. Vecna, not Vecna from Venkman from the Ghostbusters. But yeah, so he's just become this great anti-hero, and one of the most famous scenes is when they go to the Upside Down to give time and to create a diversion. He goes up to the top of the mobile home there with Dustin, and he plays Metallica Master of Puppets. And Master of Puppets is at the top of the charts again after 35 whatever years, 40 years. And so many people, this character's resonated with them. And a lot of people that are outcasts, a lot of people that are nerds, did D&D and were shunned upon, because you have to keep in mind during this time in the 80s, devil worshipping and the secret meanings in rock albums were becoming a thing, and bands like Judas Priest were being taken to court, because kid committed suicide, and they're blaming bands for this. And D&D was frowned upon because they're working in fantasy and they thought these kids are in cults, and so this kind of reflects that a little bit. And Eddie Munson was a great character. And Joseph Quinn has been doing a wonderful job being very humble in interviews. And, of course, you got to jam with Metallica backstage. They gave him a guitar and they signed it. And it's just been great. But and I've been seeing him being choked up at interviews at conventions and stuff like that, and how, this character has touched them. And but there's also been a weird side. So my friend Shan, as you guys may know, I host a hair metal podcast here on the Fandom Podcast Network. If you're a big fan of the hair metal genre or metal in general from the 80s, make sure you check it out. Join our group. Eddie Munson has been kind of seeping in there a little bit because of his influence as a 80s metalhead. And there's an article that Shan shared on our Facebook group there for the hair metal podcast, saying, thanks to Stranger Things, Eddie Munson, the internet is thirsting over metalheads like never before, and it's getting a little weird. TikTok users are getting the hots for metalheads thanks to Eddie Munson mania, which is now racking up billions of searches. Forever considered cultural outsiders the alternative to the norm, it appears metalheads are finally becoming cool on social media, at least. In fact, according to TikTok, and what now has racked up billions of searches related to Stranger Things, Eddie Munson on the platform were now also being kind of fetishized. So I'm just going to leave it at that right now. The article goes on to say some other stuff, though. And there's some positive things about it as well. But metalheads, in my opinion, have always been cool. You know, I've been growing up one myself, but I just find it very, very funny that it takes a character like that to really expose a new generation to what it was like for us back in the 80s, experiencing. I remember buying that Metallica Master of Puppets on cassette when it first came out, because the album before Ride the Lightning, I went in right away. And it's just nice to see that music resonating again with fans, and new fans, of course, finding it, just like they did with the rest of the soundtrack. So, yeah.
Well, if Camille's still in the room, I'd make a comment about her going, well, what's a cassette? But she is your daughter, so
yeah.
That is. But no, I think season 4 Stranger Things was so amazingly well done. I need to know who David Harbour's fitness trainer is, because dude was in shape for season 4. But it's when we talk about the D&D things, it's funny because I remember when they were talking about it with all like the cult things. I remember being a kid and being home and just living in Alaska. You had limited channels for a long time, and it was some religious show, and they were reading a D&D campaign, and they were trying to do all this like dramatic, serious sounding cult thing, and I'm just saying here, this sounds cool as hell. What are you talking about?
The thing about the Eddie Munson character that really resonates with people is that you either knew an Eddie Munson or you were an Eddie Munson, you know, and there's so many things about him and his character, and you know, that last few episodes of Stranger Things really kind of tapped into that. And there was a real nice moment after the fact, after he passed away and the city's trying to recover from the big mess that, you know, everything happened. And Dustin's character goes up to Eddie's uncle, I think it is, who, you know, puts up a flyer because he's missing. And Dustin really goes into, you know, what Munson meant to him and what he did for his friends. And, you know, that whole scene with, you know, Dustin just, you know, that thing is so metal and stuff like that was just great.
I just want to say before we close out our Stranger Things conversation, remember, brochachos, pineapple on pizza is a beautiful thing.
I need to start calling my friends brochachos more often, and he was wrong about the pineapple.
Oh, then you can't use brochachos.
And if you call that phone number that is actually on the pizza truck, you actually get a recording from that guy. It's pretty funny.
That is very cool. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it's time to talk everything that has happened in 2022 and what is still yet to come in 2022.
Our favorites, right? We're going to talk about our favorites. Yeah. Okay,
exactly.
Cool.
So with that, here's what else is happening around the Fandom Podcast Network.
Thank you for listening. We hope you're enjoying this podcast. Here are the other great shows on the Fandom Podcast Network. Culture Clash, where we discuss the latest in entertainment and pop culture. Blooded Kings, our show covering the entire Highlander universe. Couch Potato Theater, we celebrate our favorite movies. And Time Warp, our Fandom Flashback show discussing a year in movies and our favorite retro movie, TV, and pop culture topics. Good Evening, discussing all things Alfred Hitchcock. Hair Metal Podcast, we cover the rock metal music of the 80s and early 90s. Type 40, a Doctor Who podcast, discussing the time-traveling Doctor Who universe. Lethal Mullet, an action film podcast covering the 80s, 90s, and beyond. Also, check out the Lethal Mullet Network for more great podcasts. What a Piece of Junk, our Star Wars podcast. Making Treks, a Star Trek podcast with a deep dive into the final frontier. The Fandom Show, our Fandom Podcast Network live YouTube show discussing the hottest topics in fandom. The True Believers MCU podcast, discussing the Marvel Cinematic and Television Universe. Union Federation, our Star Trek and the Orville Show. And we're proud to welcome the BQN Network to the Fandom Podcast Network. Please visit our friends on the BQN Network, a Star Trek Universe podcast that also includes your favorite topics, movies, history, superheroes, and more. You can find the Fandom Podcast Network on YouTube. The Fandom Podcast Network is also on all major podcast platforms. The Fandom Podcast Network audio master feed is on Podbean at fpnet.podbean.com. You can find the Fandom Podcast Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can email us at fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening, and remember, respect others and enjoy your fandom.
And we are back, and it is time to talk the year of 2022, Kevin. And we're going to start off by talking about what we have seen and what we have liked in 2022. Kevin, I got to say, it has been a bit of a weird year for fandom consumption in 2022. Obviously, we're still feeling a lot of effects of the movie shuffle and TV shuffle from everything that happened with COVID. I know as I was going through at this list, I was a little bit surprised between the balance, how a little bit off balance it was between TV shows and movies when I was trying to think about the things I've enjoyed most so far this year. Kevin, what about you? Have you still been noticing that as well? Just a little bit of the oddness as we kind of come out of the COVID period with how things are coming out and what we're getting?
Yeah, just getting used to seeing movies again in the theaters, of course, because everything's been streaming, where most of our entertainment's coming from, or most of the stuff we've been podcasting about on the network, and that is kind of the future to a certain degree. And it's funny when you see, I've been seeing trailers for movies, and they have to stipulate at the end of it saying exclusively in theaters, or in theaters only, or something funny like that. But yeah, and the weird thing is too, Kyle, for the first time, or I should say over the last couple of years too, because the movie industry has been decimated and now it's slowly trying to come back, I'm not up to date on what's coming out when like I used to, and so it's, stuff's been moved around, and so it's like usually stuff, unless it's something really, really big, like Bullet Train, I saw trailers for it and it was coming out sometime, and it just kind of caught me off guard this last week. Like, oh, that's coming out this week, where that would have been on my radar like 4 months ago or 3 months ago, of course, promoting it's different now too.
By the time we're done with this segment, hopefully we'll have you with a few more upvotes with your movie knowledge for the rest of the year.
I can't do it myself. Sorry.
It doesn't count. But let's go ahead and talk about some kind of our top 5 things for 2020 that we've seen so far. I'm going to kick off with my list here first, Kevin. Coming in number 5 for me, Stranger Things season 4. I really felt this season 3 was very good at Stranger Things, but season 4 of Stranger Things I can put right up there with the first season as far as giving me that kind of throwback feel, kind of gave me back into that my age and growing up with those things meant. And I also think it was just some incredible storytelling and really bringing the world of Stranger Things back together. And it really does make me want to do a full series rewatch before we get to season 5, which is scheduled to come out next year. So Stranger Things season 4 was just a ton of fun for me. I'm going to skip what my next thing is. I'm going to tell you what it is, but we'll talk about it more because I know it's on your list too. The Orville, which just wrapped up its 3rd season. Hopefully not its final season. We don't know yet, but it was a lot of fun. Star Trek came back to me finally in a big way with Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I had high hopes of this show coming into it, and it not only met those hopes, it exceeded it. And I'm talking at warp factor 10. Anson Mount and that crew were one of the highlights of my summer, Kevin.
It's interesting saying you said high hopes. I didn't have high hopes for it. I didn't ask for the show. I didn't know really what to expect. I was definitely intrigued by it because Anson Mount's character of Pike was the best thing of was it the previous season 3 of Discovery? But
2 of Discovery.
Yeah, but I'm with you there. It exceeded my expectations, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think my high hopes came from actually Anson Mount as Pike in season 2 of Discovery. So
right.
Number 2 for me, I'm going to flat out say it was the most fun TV show I've watched this year as far as just absolute craziness. I shouldn't say craziness because there's another show that qualifies for that, but it ran pretty close. But it was so much better than I expected it was going to be, and that was Peacemaker, starring John Cena, the James Gunn created and directed by show on HBO. Kevin, this show just came out of nowhere. People were like, really, Peacemaker out of Suicide Squad? And yeah, John Cena was phenomenal in this. The cast was great. I love this series. I cannot wait for season 2. It even helped. I think it even helped a little bit with some of the hair metal resurgence in its own way. 2022 was the resurgence of the hair metal era, big time, Kevin.
Yeah, the soundtrack was really good because you knew that Peacemaker was on my list too. I had mine at number 3. Peacemaker himself was a big fan of that genre, and they definitely paid tribute to that with the albums you saw in there, and the songs, and the reference to Hanoi Rocks, and of course the opening theme song Wigwam, which I never fast forwarded through. I watched that intro every single time, sometimes more than once.
Yeah. Number one for me, Kevin, and I know this is on your list as well. This was the most fun I've had in movie theaters in a very long time, and that is Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, that was number 2 for me. Top Gun Maverick was fantastic. A really good tribute to the original film as well, with ties directly to it. And he did a really good job of not like copying everything and just kind of throwing some new blood in there as well. And the supporting cast was great. And I kind of felt that he made sure the rest of the cast had a chance to shine, that it wasn't just like, you know, a Tom Cruise vessel just to showcase Tom Cruise. He had his moments, of course. He had to, because he is Maverick and he's the lead. But the rest of the cast really shined, and it was a good story.
I just came out of that film feeling the nostalgia factor and just feeling in a good place coming out of that film. And it's been a while that I've walked out of a film and just felt like I was in a great place walking out of it. Like, just, you know, I was happy. And I think it really hit for me. But Kevin, you've got some things too, including some honorable mentions as well.
Yeah, I want to throw out some honorable mentions here. And Stranger Things season 4 and Strange New Worlds get honorable mention for me for a lot of the reasons that you said as well. Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Of course, the Nicolas Cage film, playing himself, a lot of fun. The Batman. Really, really, really good interpretation. I thought Robert Patrick was great. Zoe Kravitz was awesome in it. And Paul Dano as the Riddler was just phenomenal. It was great. A lot of fun. The final season of Ozark did not disappoint. And I loved Ozark. Me and my wife, Erin, loved that show. Jason Bateman was fantastic, is also the producer and that as well, and director and star, of course. Wonderful cast, and just really, really good. And my last honorable mention is one of the biggest surprises for me. I freaking love The Gilded Age on HBO. It's fascinating to see what high society, rich New York was in the late 1800s with the boom of the mining companies and the railways, and how technology was something new was being invented, and the old money meeting the new money was just fantastic. And I rewatched that show twice. Absolutely loved it. Big surprise for me too. My dad even loved it too. It was great.
That whole universe just grabs everybody in, and it's like people you wouldn't expect to watch either The Gilded Age or anything related with that.
The sets and the costumes were fantastic. I was blown away, and great characters as well. So yeah. Number 5 on my list for stuff I've enjoyed the most this season with TV and movies is The Boys, especially season 3. Man, it stepped it up. Been enjoying seeing the character development here. And I did want to mention real quick, speaking of character development, seeing the character of Peacemaker in Peacemaker, John Cena's character, develop, not just kind of play this dumb superhero guy who likes to kill people. You saw a lot of character development there, so I thought that was great. And I think Jennifer's talking about Gilded Age. Clarify there. I want to find out for sure, Jennifer.
Yeah, if Jennifer says The Boys, I'll be quite impressed, actually.
Yeah.
Kevin, can I just comment something real quick on The Boys? Myself, again, it just missed the cut for me. The Boys season 3 took it to a whole new level as far as what this show does, and we've talked about before. They set a line, then they cross it, then they just set the line up higher, and they still find a way to cross it. And there are things in The Boys season 3 that I will never unsee.
Nathaniel says Unbearable Weight and Sonic 2 have been his favorite movie so far. You know, it's funny, Nathaniel. I actually want to see Sonic 2 because I really enjoyed the first one. It surprised me. I'm just going to wait for it to stream. I didn't see it in the theater, but I actually really enjoyed the first one. I wasn't expecting it to. And I did want to give a shout out before I go any further. Lacey Adderhold, she says the movies so far that she's liked is Vengeance, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, The Batman, and The Lost City, which I also enjoyed as well. She did mention that Vengeance is her favorite movie so far this year. She said she's looking forward to Bullet Train, Bodies, 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 The Invitation, which I just saw a trailer for, by the way. That did look good. Secret Headquarters and Spin Me Round. Don't know what those are, so I have to search those up. Anyway, so that The Boys for me is at number 5. Number 4, I just finished rewatching the season again. Is Reacher.
So good.
On Amazon. Man, that show is good. I even liked the Tom Cruise movies when they came out. I heard all the stuff about him not being big and because he's short. But man, Alan Rickman, is that who it is?
Alan Rickman, yes. Who,
fantastic as Reacher, and the supporting cast was great. Absolutely loved it. Rewatched it again.
Yeah, I got to shout out Nathaniel. He says it's on Paramount Plus now. What are you referring to? Are you talking about Vengeance? So if you could clarify that for me, I'd appreciate it. I think
he means Sonic 2 is what I'm guessing.
It could be.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Reacher was phenomenal. It was so phenomenal. In fact, it's been renewed for two more seasons. The next season of Reacher will be focusing on the 11th book in the Jack Reacher series. So I cannot wait for that. Very excited.
Number 3 was Peacemaker for the reasons that you said. And yeah, Nathaniel does say Sonic 2 is on Paramount Plus. Thanks for the heads up on that, man. Yeah, Peacemaker was just great. The characters were awesome. And I loved how it was in the world of the DC characters and how...
I know, getting them cameos at the end.
Yeah, the cameos are great, but just stuff, how he felt about certain other superheroes was funny, and the supporting cast was just funny. Number 2 for me was Top Gun Maverick. I definitely a buy it for me as well. By the way, I'm going to be buying that as soon as it hits.
I already have my pre-order in on digital.
Yeah, I want to get the 2-pack that has both movies on them, and has the digital of both of them. I want to do that. So. And number 1 for me, Kyle, pointing at my shirt right now, is the Orville. Orville season. Number 4 on yours, yes? Yeah. We've been having a lot of fun talking about it on our Union Federation podcast, and we're going to be recording this weekend our reactions to the final episode of season 3, episode 10, Future Unknown. And I really, I knew it was going to be good. It just really exceeded my expectations of how well Seth and his team got to really sew up a lot of threads, have connective tissue to previous episodes and characters. It was just phenomenal. And it really matured as well into a fantastic drama set in a sci-fi setting. It's not a rip-off or a parody of Star Trek, in case you're wondering, you haven't seen it yet. Obviously inspired by, and they've really created their own wonderful world and universe and world building. And it is my favorite thing I have seen this year.
Nathaniel brings up a point of a movie that I know a lot of people are talking about, Kevin, and that's Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'll be honest with you. I have thoughts on that. Yeah. I have not watched this film yet, and it's because everybody I've talked to says you definitely need to have your focus locked in on the film when you watch it, or you're going to get confused pretty quickly. And so it's been one of those things where it's like, I know I got to get myself in the mindset to watch that kind of movie. But Kevin, you have seen this movie, and like you said, I know you've got some thoughts on this.
I'm not going to be spoiler about it. Aaron and I saw it. I was fighting fatigue at the time when I was watching it. I'll be honest with you. I was having trouble concentrating on it because it was just so odd. And I was losing kind of where it was at because it was jumping around so much with the kind of like the time travel thing and stuff like that. There was great characters in it that I really enjoyed, but the story just, it lost me. I may have to rewatch it. Maybe I'll enjoy it more on a rewatch. Maybe watch it when I'm a little more alert. But I was struggling to not fall asleep while I was watching it. I'll be honest with you. Yeah. But I was fighting some fatigue. I was tired at the time. But I was disappointed in how it just jumped around too much. And maybe I just wasn't ready for that. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Fair enough. Well, Kevin, I think it's time to move forward and talk about what else is coming up for the remainder of 2022. So we were talking about this a little off mic before we did this particular topic, Kevin, about how we really was like, what's coming out the rest of this year? So
I just want to say there's some love in the chat here for the Orville. Nathaniel says Orville grew into its own this year. Jennifer says the Orville's so good they really stepped it up this season. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Sorry, I just wanted to mention those guys.
It has been, as you see, the social media love for it this season has just gone to another height. If you haven't watched it yet, on the 10th, it hits Disney Plus. If you have Disney Plus.
Can I just say something about that real quick, Kyle? We mentioned it on our podcast. So one of the tricks to companies that are streaming shows is they can tell not only how many people are actually streaming the show, if they're making a decision on whether or not to renew a show or not, it's also how many times it's rewatched. They can tell that. If you want to try to save the Orville or any show that's streaming, make sure that when the Orville, for example, is moving to Disney Plus within like the next week or two, I think it is, Kyle. Make
August
sure.
10th, I believe.
Okay, August 10th. Make sure you rewatch it. Click on it. Watch it again because they keep track of that stuff. And hashtag renew the Orville. I did my part. Got a lot of responses on my post that I did. Hit that hashtag renew the Orville. I don't know if it's going to be renewed. My gut feeling says probably not, but maybe we can make a difference. If we don't get a full season, maybe we can get a movie or something. But this show definitely needs more life. Did want to mention real quick, by the way, Nathaniel says Twice in a Lifetime is my favorite time travel episode. Well said. It's also one of my favorite episodes of the series. Love that episode of the Orville.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some of the things that are coming up to keep us entertained for the rest of the year, though, Kevin. And I was mentioning it earlier. Today alone was a ton of stuff coming out to keep you entertained. We talked earlier about Bullet Train. I talked a little bit about Prey. The Netflix series based off of Neil Gaiman's The Sandman starts today. I know a lot of people are very excited about that. Matt Clifton's been giving almost a play-by-play review of each episode on his social media because he has been very excited for this show. I'm very intrigued by this. I want to see how it's going to play out, but I'm definitely going to at least give it a check out. Kevin, you have some thoughts?
Did you read the comics?
I've read the comics. It's been a while since I'll be honest with you. It's probably been a good 10 years since I've revisited the Sandman comics. They're an interesting read. It's one of those things that you could get lost with what's going on very easily because there's some above your head thinking in those comics.
Never read one issue. Neil Gaiman is a legend among this, of course. I just actually listened to an interview with him with Mark Maron podcast, WTF, and he was really good in that. I learned a lot about him and his musical taste, which was great. But I do want to see this series. I actually watched the first 10 minutes of it, and I'm like, okay, I got to check this out before I went to work this morning. And the cast looks really, really good. I find the concept fascinating, but never got into the original series. But I am curious to check this out on Netflix.
What I will tell you, Kevin, too, is Amazon is doing a fabulous audiobook series of the Sandman storyline, and with an amazing cast on the audiobook side. It's probably they've done the first two novels of it, and it's some of the best audiobooks I've ever listened to in my life.
Very cool.
That good. So if you want, that's another way to check it out. But another thing that snuck out today too, Kevin, was a movie that was actually supposed to be in theaters, but Amazon snapped it up during the COVID times. And I'm bringing this up because of who's involved with this. And this is the movie 13 Lives. It's based off of the soccer group of young boys that were trapped in that cave in Thailand where they had to do the scuba diving to go rescue them. This movie was directed by Ron Howard. It stars Viggo Mortensen, Colin Farrell, and Joel Edgerton. So there's a lot of heavyweight talent in this film, and it's been getting some interesting reviews. I know being based off of that true story, but it's on Amazon. It's streaming on Amazon. I think I'm a little bit excited to check this out because of who's involved with it. I think it can make for a very powerful film. So moving forward, though, August 10th, we've got I Am Groot on Disney Plus. I know a lot of people love the child Groot, and this story is supposed to take place kind of around the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, right before we get that teenage Groot. Another great series of mine, fan favorite series of mine on Netflix, Lock and Key, based off of the great Joe Hill comic, will have its third and final season on Netflix. August 12th, Kevin, a Netflix original film with that. I'm sure you have seen the trailers for this with Jamie Foxx and Snoop Dogg, Day Shift, where they play Snoop Dogg, the vampire hunter, Kevin.
Yes, the trailer for this looks really fun, and Dave Franco's in it as well. I am actually looking forward to this. Megan Good is in it as well. Scott Adkins is in it too. I'm very curious about that. I'm excited.
Another thing that just grabbed me because of what they're pulling from, Amazon is doing a TV series remake of A League of Their Own, and that starts on August 12th as well. So I'm kind of curious to see how that might play out. August 18th, we have She-Hulk on Disney+. August 21st, though, Kevin, it's time to go back to Westeros because Game of Thrones House of Dragons starts.
This is sneaking up on me. I'm not ready for this.
I am very ready for this. I've been excited about this for a long time. Matt Smith, of course, who played the 11th Doctor in Doctor Who, is one of the main leads in this. And for those of you who do have HBO Max, and if you have a 4K TV, HBO Max just upgraded the entire run of Game of Thrones to 4K and with Dolby Atmos sound on HBO Max. It sounds really
nice.
Pretty. It looks really pretty and sounds very pretty on that. But very excited for that. I think that's one of the keynote things coming out. August 25th, Kevin, for all of our Union Fed fans out there, Lower Decks Season 3 is here.
I'm excited.
I
love that animated series. It's fun.
Yeah. I know you're ready for more adventures on the Cerritos. So
yes. Yep.
Something you actually brought to my attention, I believe, Kevin. Sylvester Stallone's new movie, The Samaritan, coming out on Amazon on August 26th.
Yeah, a retired superhero trying to live a normal life. Sylvester Stallone has to kind of come out of retirement to wrong or take care of the wrongs, basically, I guess. So yeah, that's what I got from the trailer. It looks a lot of fun.
Yeah. Also that day, the third and final season of the Jason Momoa series C on Apple TV Plus will come out. I'm in the process of watching season 2, which Dave Bautista was a part of too. This is kind of one of those shows. I can see where some people would like it, some people not. But if you're a fan of Momoa, you need to at least give this show a shot. So then, Kevin, September 2nd, Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, the most expensive television show in history, and I'm getting the feeling the thoughts on this are still pretty mixed out there with people. Some people are very anxious for this. Some people are feeling a bit trepidatious about this from what they've seen.
Yeah, I'm curious to check it out, but I'm just not feeling it yet.
Yeah, I think for me, I need to see an episode to maybe get me back into that mindset. I'm honestly going to say I'm a lot more excited for Game of Thrones as far as my fantasy realm kind of.
I'm actually more curious about the production, the sets, the scenery, the costumes, stuff like this. And then I'm very curious how they spent like $1 billion for the rights to do this, and then whatever production costs they're spending on it. I'm curious to see if it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, I know. I'm very intrigued by this, but here's something else I'm kind of intrigued by, Kevin, and I know a lot of people are keeping at least an eye on this. The return of Quantum Leap, of course, the cult favorite show that lasted forever on NBC. It's coming back to NBC. The premise is set 30 years after Dr. Sam Beckett stepped into the Quantum Leap accelerator and vanished. We follow a new team that must restart the project, hoping to understand the mysteries behind the machine and its creator. Jewel State is in this, of course, from Firefly Flame, and Ernie Hudson is also in this. Kevin, are you any intrigue or any curiosity at all? Were you a Quantum Leap fan?
No, I actually have the entire series on DVD because I bought it at Walmart recently because I was thinking about diving back into it. My friend Aaron on his Headcast network, he and his wife actually have a Quantum Leap podcast, and they've been covering episode by episode and stuff. And I've been meaning to dive into it. I remember seeing a couple of episodes when it originally aired, like the famous Kennedy assassination one and a couple other things. But it's not that I didn't like it. I just never found the time to watch it.
Yeah, no, it was kind of one of those shows I've watched. I've never like Die Hard, but especially when it hits syndication, you always it would be on a lot, so you catch episodes here and there.
I like the idea that it's a continuation, not a reboot.
Yeah, I very much like that idea too. And then, of course, Kevin, we talked about it a little earlier. September 21st, Andor season 1 starts on Disney Plus with its first 3 episodes. But here's something I'm very intrigued by, Kevin, and we're still fighting over this particular actress as for possible movie wife status or TV wife status. The Ana de Armas Marilyn Monroe film Blonde hits Netflix. This movie is going to be rated NC-17 on Netflix, Kevin.
Really interesting.
Yeah,
I saw the trailer for it. And I do find it interesting because she looks great, and I think that we get into. IMDb says it's a fictionalized chronicle of the inner life of Marilyn Monroe, but I think they're really tapping into the struggle that she had to deal with of being this character, as she called Marilyn Monroe, where this is someone that she had to be on screen, and it wasn't, her.
Yeah. So
Norma Jean, right? Is that her character?
Yeah, Norma Jean. Yeah.
Yeah.
So September 28th, as of right now, I'm going to be curious to see if this changes because it's going to be so close to when Andor starts. Right now, it's still on the schedule for season 2 of The Bad Batch on Disney Plus.
I'm excited for that. I like the last one. Kind of curious to see where they're going to go with, the little clone kid and all that. So yeah.
Nathaniel hits my Night Court love, by the way. I'm with you on
that.
One of my all-time favorite shows.
Night Court was awesome.
Yeah, I miss me some Harry Anderson, and I love anything John Larroquette's gets involved in. I'm gonna.
By the way, Jennifer loves her documentaries, and she always recommends good ones. She says that there's a good CNN doc on Maryland that was really good. So thanks for the shout out on that.
And Kevin, then September 30th, we have Hocus Pocus 2 coming out on Disney Plus. I know there's a lot of love out there for Hocus Pocus. Might not be you, but there's a lot of love out there for.
Yeah, I guess I know it's a one of those yearly things people have to enjoy and stuff like that. I saw it once, and I don't revisit it. I don't know. Maybe I should. I don't know.
I'm not sure either. It wasn't one of my all-time favorites, but like I said, I know I want to give it some love and attention because there is a lot of people who are big fans of that movie out there. October, I'm just going to run down a few things real quick. The final episodes of the main Walking Dead series are going to be airing the end of an era, I guess, even though we know there's going to be a bunch of spin-off shows coming because The Walking Dead, like zombies, just keep on walking. So
should have ended 5 seasons ago.
Yeah, probably. Kevin, I remember right, you told me you had actually, did you watch season 1 of Chucky or watch some episodes of Chucky? I couldn't remember.
No, I had no interest. No interest. Yeah.
Season 2 of Chucky comes out in October, and one for all you Supernatural fans out there, The Winchesters, the prequel series to Supernatural, is going to be coming out in October. And Kevin,
is this going to be their parents or something, or what?
I'm not quite sure what. I think some of the stories with their dad and just the family, and maybe throughout history. I'm not quite sure how they're handling this, but Kevin, we know there's a lot of Supernatural love out there, including our good friend Lacey. Is a big Supernatural fan.
It's one of the longest running series before it ended, what's 15, 17 seasons, something crazy like that.
One of the crazy amount. November, Young Rock season 3. I'm a fan of this series. I think it's a lot. I think it's a fun series. Dwayne Johnson gives it a lot.
I tried watching the first 2 episodes and I couldn't get into it. I was out.
Yeah, well,
just my take.
Just a quick hi to Matt Pott. Thanks for joining us in the chat, sir. I believe I've seen Matt floating around in the type 40 groupings as well.
What's up, Matt? How's it going?
I think he bravely hangs out with that Hadley guy.
That guy. Yeah, what a hack.
Yeah.
I love Dan. I love you, Dan.
For all you Yellowstone fans out there, season 5 of Yellowstone is coming out. This series is still going strong, and got to give it a love. But Kevin, here's something I am very, very much looking forward to.
You skipped one.
Oh, well, you're right. Something I know I'm curious about, and I know you're a big fan of this movie, and that's Zootopia Plus, the Zootopia TV series coming to Disney Plus. Kevin, are you gonna jump in on that? Because I know you're a big fan of the film. I'm gonna take a chance
and watch that. I really like that movie. I saw it with Camille in the theater, and I remember seeing it in 3D, and I've revisited. That was a really fun movie, and so I'm kind of curious about that because the world that they developed there. I'd like to see it as a TV series. So yeah.
And then lastly, in November, a show I'm very much excited for and can't wait to see more of as we get closer to it. Willow, the Willow series on Disney Plus begins with season 1. Kevin, are you geared up for Willow? Are you intrigued?
This is something I've been wanting for a long time. I wanted a sequel sooner, though. Now we're not going to get that because, of course, Val Kilmer is not doing well health-wise, and Joanne Wally's whatever. But I'm curious to see where they're going to take it. And Warwick Davis, of course, has returned. I'm a little skeptical about it, but I am going to watch it.
Yeah. Well, that's going to wrap up the TV side and streaming side of things. I've got a few movies we're going to go through. These are things that are going straight to the theater. So, and in fact, Nathaniel brings it up about mentioning Avatar. Everything I'm about to name now are movies that are going straight into the theater. Obviously, Bullet Train came out today. We've got the Idris Elba movie Beast, Kevin, coming out August 19th. It's Idris. I got to throw it out there, but
yeah, I saw the trailer. I'm like, nah, I'm out.
We have the movie Breaking coming out, which I am very. Have you seen the trailer for this yet, Kevin? Not that
Breaking?
kind of breaking. No,
not
that
break
kind of
dancing.
breaking.
No, okay, no.
This movie stars John Boyega, Nicole Bihari from the show Sleepy Hollow, and it's one of the last performances of Michael K. Williams, Kevin. And it's actually based off of something of a true story. A Marine War veteran played by John Boyega faces mental and emotional challenges when he tries to reintegrate back into civilian life, which includes leading to him trying to rob a bank, and it goes very wrong.
Interesting.
And this movie looks very intense and very interesting. Kevin, did you get the trailer for Medieval before Bullet Train? Because I did.
Medieval. Did I'm trying to remember. No, I did not see. I have not seen this trailer, actually, to be honest with you.
Okay. It's the story of a 15th century chess icon and warlord, Jan Zizka, who defeated armies of the Teutonic Order and the Holy Roman Empire. This movie stars Ben Foster and Michael Caine.
I'm a Ben Foster fan. Love Michael Caine too, but I love Ben Foster.
Yeah. Another interesting film that's coming out is the movie Barbarian, and this looks like it's kind of a thriller type thing. A woman staying at an Airbnb discovers that the house she has rented is not what it seems. This movie is going to start.
I saw the trailer, and she started walking down in a dark, deep basement. I'm like, nope, I'm out.
Yeah. Stars Georgina Campbell, Bill Skarsgård, and Justin Long. So we've got that. Did you get the trailer for The Woman King before Bullet Train?
Yes. Yeah, Bullet Train did show that one, yes.
A historic epic inspired by the true events that happened in the kingdom of Dahomey, one of the most powerful states of Africa in the 18th and 19th centuries. This movie is being led by Viola Davis and also Lashana Lynch. John Boyega is also in this film. There's been a lot of Oscar buzz for Viola Davis for this role. Next up, we have the movie Don't Worry, Darling. A 1950s housewife living with her husband in a utopian experimental community begins to worry that his glamorous company may be hiding disturbing secrets. Interesting cast here, Kevin. You've got Florence Pugh, Olivia Wilde, Chris Pine, Harry Styles, and Gemma Chan are all in this film.
I've seen this trailer twice now. It's also directed by Olivia Wilde. This actually looks interesting to me because it's taking place during the Atomic Age, and these kind of secret cities that had to kind of be built because of all the people that worked on this stuff and the families that had to be kind of kept together and not be outside of their bubble, and nefarious things happen.
Kevin, are you and Aaron Gill going to make a Halloween date for Halloween Ends?
Maybe actually. I actually want to see this because I'm invested in this trilogy, and this is supposed to wrap up the whole, because this trilogy is a continuation from the original Halloween movie with Jamie Lee Curtis. And Aaron and I saw the first one of the trilogy, and I think I liked it more than she did. And I saw the last one, and I will be watching this just because I want to see how it officially ends for Laurie Strode.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a little bit curious about this too. I'm gonna see where it goes. Of course, then October 21st, we've got The Rock starring in Black Adam. How are you feeling about this, Kevin?
I'm indifferent about it. I'll check it out. I wanted Dwayne Johnson to have a character that he can keep returning to, a franchise action character, like we have with the John Wicks, the Die Hards, and unfortunately, it has to be a DC character that he wants to try to do more with. His career has fascinated me, but has depressed me a little bit because he hasn't found that character. The only character that he's returned to that I like is Hobbs, from the Fast and Furious films, but it's not the same.
Yeah. Well, the next one we have is the latest David O. Russell film, which is Amsterdam. Set in the 30s, it follows three friends who witness a murder, become suspects themselves, and uncover one of the most outrageous plots in American history. And Kevin, this is an all-star cast on this. You have Margot Robbie, Anna Taylor-Joy, Christian Bale, Robert De Niro, Zoe Saldana, Timothy Olyphant, Rami Malek, Michael Shannon, John David Washington, and Mike Myers all in this film, as well as Chris Rock and Taylor Swift. There's a lot of people in this film.
That one intrigues me.
Yeah. Of course, November 11th, we talked a lot about this on our True Believers podcast. Wakanda Forever is coming out, Kevin. I don't know if I'm emotionally ready for this movie. I'm excited for it, but this is going to bring out a lot of emotions for me. I'm feeling that right now.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that they're going to handle it well. Don't know who the hell Namor is, but hopefully he's introduced and we'll see what happens.
Now, Kevin, what is this? Does it feel like Hollywood is doing a lot of movies that might be dealing with possible cannibalism of late? Because this movie, I'm going to talk about The Menu. I've been seeing a lot of trailers for it. It's getting a lot of buzz. A young couple travel to a remote island to eat at an exclusive restaurant where the chef has prepared a lavish menu with some shocking surprises. This movie has an interesting cast in it as well, with Anna Joy Taylor, Ralph Fiennes, John Leguizamo, Nicholas Hoult. This movie just got me on the creepy side a little bit too much here.
Nope, I'm out.
Yeah. Up next, Kevin, I actually talked about this movie with you off mic because I am very much in on this movie just based off of what the premise is. Violent Night. A group of mercenaries attack the estate of a wealthy family on Christmas Eve, and Santa must save Christmas. Santa in this movie, ladies and gentlemen, is being played by none other than David Harbour himself. I'm David Harbour, Santa. You've got me all in. One of your favorites, John Leguizamo, is in this film as well, Kevin.
Yeah, and Cam Gigante as well, Beverly D'Angelo. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I'm throwing this out there because it's a Tom Hanks film. Usually it's hard to go wrong with a Tom Hanks film. A Man Called Otto, a cranky retired man strikes up an unlikely friendship with his boisterous new neighbors, a remake of a 2015 Swedish film. I really don't know much of the cast outside of Tom Hanks, but I'm always willing to give Tom Hanks the benefit of the doubt, Kevin.
Yeah, I know nothing.
So, next up, December 16th, a movie that's probably should have come out 10 years ago. Avatar, The Way of the Water. Are you excited?
Yes, I'm excited for Avatar. I liked the first movie. Everyone else did until the Star Wars movies came out and they changed their mind. I love the Avatar universe. I'm excited to see what happens again. Bring it on. I will be there opening weekend.
I am very intrigued and I am excited to see this film because I want to see what they're going to do with it. I don't think it's going to quite have that magic that the first one had because it was visually something we'd never seen before, and I just don't know where Cameron can take it. But I love Avatar too. Say what you will about it. I'm very excited to check this out as well. Rounding things out.
Hold on, real quick. Mm-hmm. I just want to mention Nathaniel says Namor is the Submariner, the Marvel cooler Aquaman. Is that true, Kyle?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to say that is true. Nathaniel, you Imperious Rex, he'll understand if he's a Namor fan. Wrapping up December, we have Shazam, Fury of the Gods. We've seen the trailer for this. I thought the first Shazam movie was fun. We'll see what they got with this. It's got a heck of bringing in Helen Mirren to be the bad guy. I'm in with that. Helen, anytime you can bring in Helen Mirren. And then lastly, Kevin, we always have a pretty big release on Christmas.
Hold on. Mm-hmm. In Shazam, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Helen Mirren is the bad guy in Shazam.
Okay. I'm just saying the new trailer didn't get me excited for it. I like the first one, but I don't like the fact that he's still a young boy in a guy's body again. Make him mature. That's kind of creeping me out now. I'm just saying.
But that's always been the premise of Shazam. So
I know. It's just I'm just not feeling that anymore. Anyway,
Yeah.
It's just weird that I see, Zachary Levi looking really cool, and then all of a sudden he's a teenager again. I don't know.
Yeah. And then lastly, Christmas Day, we got a movie that I'm sure is going to be big talk of the Oscars, Babylon, set in Hollywood during the transition from silent films to talkies, focusing on a mixture of historical and fictional characters. But an interesting cast here, Kevin. We've got Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, Olivia Wilde. Those two are busy in the second half of 2022.
Yes. Yep.
Samara Weaving, Gene Smart, Tobey Maguire, Catherine Watterson, Eric Roberts, all in this film. Lucas Haas is also in this film.
Wow, that's a
Kevin,
big cast.
I know you're a kind of a fan of the Hollywood history kind of films.
Yeah.
Too here.
I haven't seen the trailer for it. I don't know anything about it, but I'm curious because the cast. This looks good. During that time in Hollywood, a lot of stuff was changing fast too, and I do find that era fascinating. So I'm kind of curious.
Yeah. So there's definitely things that are on the radar here, guys. So there's going to be a lot, even though it feels like there's nothing that feels like that huge pop. Kevin, maybe Wakanda Forever is kind of our huge pop thing out of all of these. Avatar,
right?
But I think
it's the end of Phase 4. Phase 4 has been kind of weird. There's been some highlights, a lot of lowlights too, and I know there's a lot of MCU burnout as well with fans. But I hope it ends on a high note and gives us something to really look forward to.
Yeah, I think there's enough on there that I'm intrigued by what we're going to see from the rest of 2022. And yes, Samara is Hugo Weaving's niece, Matt, and there's some great genes in Hugo Weaving's family.
I didn't understand what you just said, Kyle. What'd you say?
Samara, Matt comments about Samara being Hugo Weaving's niece. And I just said, yes, there's some great genetics in Hugo Weaving's family.
This is true. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And she is quite talented and up and comer in the Hollywood.
Yeah,
scene,
totally.
So, yeah.
I she was one of the highlights of the Snake Eyes movie for me. I liked her as Scarlet.
Yeah. So with that, guys, we're going to wrap up this live edition of Culture Clash. Kevin, thank you so much for being part of this.
Anytime, brother. Anytime. I love to. It's nice to get back and talk about pop culture. And I want to thank everyone that contributed in the chat too. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Camille.
Yes. Come back anytime, please, Camille. It was great having you on, keeping your dad on his toes. And yeah, but again, we got a lot coming up still in 2022 to talk about. So Culture Clash is not going anywhere. And we've got a lot of great things coming up on the Fandom Podcast Network. We've been kind of reminiscing a lot about 1982, Kevin.
Yeah, Time Warp. Make sure you check that out. We're going to be recording a new episode. Everything is 40 years old in 1982, and we've just done some couch potato theater celebrating 82 films like Megaforce, which was our rematch. We decided to do it again with Davis Grayson, and then we just did Grease 2 with Jennifer, my wife Erin, and of course Lacey Adderhold. Grease 2.
It is good to see that you survived your Pink Ladies experience, Kevin.
It was a lot of fun. It was great. And I just seen Grease 2 for the first time. I rather enjoyed it.
He is a cool writer, ladies and gentlemen.
Peace out, Matt. Thank you for joining us,
Peace,
man.
Matt. Thanks for joining us. Keep Dan on his toes over there in that Type 40 group. Of course, too, before we get out of here real quick, you can find the Fandom Podcast Network either on our YouTube channel. Hopefully you're watching here with us now. Remember to like, subscribe, and share it out to your friends. We love to keep the people entertained and informed with everything that's going on in fandom. Also, all of our audio podcasts, whether it's on our master feed at fpnet.podbean.com, and you can access through the Podbean website or on the Podbean app, or you can stream us through any of the major podcast catchers out there, whether it's iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, or so many more. You can also find our group page on Fandom Podcast Network on Facebook. You can email us if you'd like to send us some information or just give us your thoughts of what we're doing. fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram, Fandom Podcast Network, on Twitter @FanPod Network. You can find me, Kyle, on Twitter at either AKyleW or on Instagram at AKyleFandom. Kevin, where can people either upvote you or downvote you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at CoolRider. Sorry, that's a Grease 2 reference there. That was
What
for
would they say
Jen.
if they knew it was Kevin?
Man, I'll be Michelle Pfeiffer's cool writer, that's for sure. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Spartan_Phoenix.
Please give him the upvotes. If you've watched the episode of the Orville with this, he really, really needs them. He's in worse shape than Lamar was right in that episode. Guys, thank you so much for listening. It has been an absolute blast talking about everything that's happened in 2022 and what is still yet to come. We love all of our listeners out there. And with that, guys, as we like to say around here, always remember, respect each other and enjoy your fandom.
See you later, everyone.